Now in every story there is a good side and a bad side. In the case of Star Wars, the good is the Jedi and the bad are the Sith. They are both very powerful individuals, but who are the most powerful Sith Lords in the galaxy? Really quick, if you guys could hit that subscribe and like button, it would be much appreciated, and I'll help this video reach more Star Wars fans. Thank you. So before we get into these top 5 Sith Lords, they are ranked in no particular order. Maybe the last person is most powerful, but that's just my personal opinion. Also, there is one honorable mention, and that is Darth Vader. Now, Vader was really powerful, and we see that especially in the comics. Darth Sidious, however, specifically made him a suit that constantly put Vader in pain, with stuff sticking into his lungs, and it just made the mobility really hard as he couldn't even lift his arms past his shoulders. If Anakin wasn't burned or Palpatine gave him a better suit, Vader would have the potential to be 100 times more powerful. First up at number 5 is Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis was a Force-sensitive Mun male Darth Lord of the Sith and master of Darth Sidious. He acquired considerable knowledge of the Force, but was ultimately betrayed and murdered by his own apprentice, in accordance with the Rule of Two. Sidious later recounted the tale of his master's demise to lure the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker to the dark side of the Force. Darth Plagueis possessed a vast knowledge of the dark side of the Force. He was a meticulous planner who tried to accomplish the Sith goal to replace the Galactic Republic with the Sith Empire. Due to his power, he also became paranoid, believing that the Force could strike back against those who sought to meddle with the very fabric of both the physical and cosmic realms. Obsessed with achieving immortality, Plagueis strived to discover the path towards becoming the eternal being alongside his apprentice Darth Sidious, and ruled together for thousands of years, and believed the secret to it laid in science. According to Darth Sidious, Darth Plagueis was a powerful Sith Lord who was able to use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. His great knowledge of the dark side of the Force could even aid him in keeping the ones he cared about from dying. Focused on achieving immortality, Darth Plagueis managed to discover a way to become immortal, which consisted of transferring his consciousness to another body and use it like a vessel. His apprentice Darth Sidious was able to survive his first death through this method, yet the transfer was imperfect. Darth Plagueis may have had the ability to see into the future, as his apprentice later mused in appreciation of him for the prophet he had been. However, what Plagueis never saw coming was his apprentice's rise to power. Next, number 4 is Darth Revan. Revan, renowned as a Revanchist, dreaded as a Darth Lord of the Sith, and hailed as a prodigal knight, was a human male who played pivotal roles in both Jedi and Sith across centuries of the Old Republic conflicts, including the Mandalorian Wars, Jedi Civil War, Great Galactic War, and the Revanite Crisis. Revan was found by the Jedi Order and apprenticed to Jedi Master Kreia. The Padawan had an insatiable hunger for knowledge and soon rose to be the Jedi's most promising pupil. Alongside his friend Malak, he became a charismatic critic in the Order's inactivity in the ongoing Mandalorian Wars between the Galactic Republic and the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders. In defiance of the Jedi Council, the Knight took upon the name Revan and started the Revanchist movement to combat the Mandalorians as a Republic military supreme commander. Revan and his forces gradually pushed back the Mandalorians, saving countless worlds at the price of devastating moral compromises in the embrace of the dark side practices. Revan and Malak, now hailed as the greatest heroes, vanished into the unknown regions to investigate a mysterious Sith influence behind the war. They discovered the hidden Sith Empire and fell under the thrall of Sith Emperor Vitiate. Vitiate directed the newly anointed Darth Revan and Darth Malak to find the mystical Starforge to escalate the plans of the galactic invasion. Revan almost succeeded, but Malak usurped the throne and fired aboard his flagship during the Jedi ambush led by Bastila Shan. Revan nearly died, but Bastila healed him and took him before the surviving Jedi for judgment. The Jedi Council wiped Revan's mind and soon retrained him to be a Jedi tasked to locate the Starforge. Revan picked up many allies and fell in love with Bastila across his journeys. Malak eventually intercepted the team and revealed to Revan his true identity as the former Dark Lord, then captured and corrupted Bastila to the dark side. In a last stand, Revan led the remaining Republic fleet against the Starforge, redeemed Bastila back to the light side, and killed Malak in battle, destroying the Sith Empire he created. Revan was the most powerful Jedi of his era. During the Mandalorian Wars, Revan was considered the Jedi Order's greatest champion. After becoming a Sith Lord, Revan's command of the Force grew as he studied the ancient practices of the dark side. Following his redemption, Revan was stronger than ever before, now having a unique understanding of the Force. His mastery allowed him to open both sides of the Force simultaneously, summoning such power that he could then unleash the Force in its purest form. Even after 3 centuries of imprisonment and torture, Revan's dominance over his contemporaries continued, only ever being truly rivaled by the Sith Emperor Vitiate. At number 3 is Exarcon. Exarcon was a human male Jedi Knight who fell to the dark side, assumed the mantle of Dark Lord of the Sith, and waged a destructive war against the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order during the era of the old Sith Wars. Kun was apprenticed to a respected Jedi Master, Voto Sios Bass, and in his days as a student, he came across forbidden knowledge of the history of the Sith. Extremely confident in his own abilities and naturally quick to anger, Kun was filled with a burning curiosity regarding the Sith, and soon went on his own quest to find out as much as he could. Seeing in Kun a potential avenue to regain a physical form, Nod directed the young Jedi to an ancient Sith homeworld of Korriban. There, Nod conspired to grievously injure Kun, only healing the man when he accepted the dark side into his heart. Soon afterward, the fully corrupted Kun banished Nod's spirit, having never trusted the old Sith, and in the process learned several other Nascent dark side users who would learn from Nod. Kun conducted an ancient ritual to free his spirit from his mortal form so he could wreak havoc across the cosmos. He did not succeed entirely. While the ritual worked as intended and the Jedi thought him dead, Kun's spirit was trapped in Yavin 4 for the next several millennia. In 11 ABY, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker established a Jedi training ground on Yavin 4, as he attempted to build a new Jedi Order after the old Order's destruction at the hands of the Galactic Empire. After thousands of years in isolation, Kun attempts to influence Skywalker's apprentices to do his bidding, successfully turning the young Padawan Kype Duran to the dark side and severely wounding Skywalker. However, the rest of Skywalker's apprentices banded together and with the help of the long-dead shade of the Jedi Master Bass, banished Kun's spirit and finally put an end to his schemes. The venerated Jedi Master Bass called Exarcon the most formidable student he had ever trained, and his power in the Force only grew once he accepted the dark side into his heart. Once the choice was made, Kun lost the ability to tap into the light side of the Force, but the dark side offered new possibilities and new abilities to master. On Yavin 4, Kun intensely studied Sith magic, learning how to unleash enormous amounts of destructive dark side energy, even more so once he discovered Naga Shadow's ancient Corsair. The discovery of the Corsair allowed Kun to research Sith alchemy, which he would quickly master. Kun would eventually gain the ability to create monstrous dark side creatures such as the Terran Todex and Sith worms that would continue to pose a menace long after the end of the Great Sith War. Kun would also develop strong mental force powers, notably using a Sith spell to mesmerize the entire Galactic Senate and dominate the mind of the Supreme Chancellor. As he delved deeper into Sith magic, Kun discovered pathways that he did not truly understand, but that he used anyway to free himself of his body at the end of the Sith War at the expense of thousands of Massassi lives. But while he became a master of the arcane ways of the dark side, Exarcon shined the most with his vaunted lightsaber ability, which he honed in training duels with Cathar Credo and Savaron Dantooine. His preferred form was Nimin. Even as his apprentice, Kun was strong enough to defeat his master boss, although his combat style tapped into an inner anger that worried his master. An overwhelming combatant with a single-bladed lightsaber, Kun would later add to his arsenal by innovating and mastering the double-bladed lightsaber, which was a previously unseen weapon in his time. Kun's formidable prowess in combat was bolstered by his tactical genius in utilizing the adaptability of his double-bladed lightsaber. By suddenly changing the intensity or length of one of his blades, Kun was often able to trick his opponents into overextending themselves and creating opening or fatal counterstrikes. Coupling his tactics with the ability to predict his enemies' actions through the Force, Kun became a nearly unbeatable force. Next, number 2 is Tenebre, or Darth Vitiate. Tenebre, the Sith Lord Darth Vitiate, was known for his reconstituted Sith Empire as a Sith Emperor to his Eternal Empire as Valkorion, was an ancient dark side entity of enormous power who manipulated galactic affairs for 1500 years. Shedding his identity as Lord Vitiate, the self-proclaimed Sith Emperor led the scattered Sith survivors to Dromund Kaas and established a new Sith Empire. As the Empire secretly expanded over the next 1,000 years, the Emperor discovered the Lost World of Zakul and the Eternal Fleet, an ancient armada with unmatched technology. Dissatisfied with Sith ideology, the Emperor divided his consciousness into a Zakulan warrior named Valkorion, and created a vast civilization known as the Eternal Empire. The Emperor desired absolute immortality to experience and expand his new creation across galaxies, so he plotted to initiate a war between his Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic. The deaths caused by the conflict would fuel the new ritual that will allow him to consume almost everything in the galaxy and become an all-powerful god. As the Emperor's plans neared completion, he orchestrated the Mandalorian Wars as a preliminary invasion of the Republic. But two powerful Jedi Knights, Revan and Malak, defeated the Mandalorians to track down the Sith Empire. The Emperor dominated their minds, but the pair soon broke free of his control and betrayed him, and each other, in the resultant Jedi Civil War that nearly destroyed the Jedi Order. Jedi Knight Kira Carson destroyed Tenebre's original body, dooming his spirit to chaos. However, the act released a final desperate vestige of his essence imbued in his flesh centuries earlier, which soon took hold of Jedi Grandmasters Satele Shan and her Jedi followers. Drawing off their memories and power, the Imprint slowly reformed himself into a duplicate of Tenebre and threatened to use Shan as a new host. Many of history's greatest champions, including the Outlander and Revan, and the souls of all of those who were wronged by Tenebre, joined together within Shan's mindscape and destroyed him once and for all. Tenebre's powers at age 13 was great enough for Marka Ragnos, the current Darth Lord of the Sith at the time, to acknowledge the teenager's strength and grant him the title of Lord Vitiate. When he confronted his real father, the Sith Lord Jermoth, at the age of 10, Tenebre was able to strip the man of both his sanity and his power in the Force. Another one of Vitiate's specialties was in domination of his opponent's minds. as he was able to dominate the minds of 8,000 Sith Lords and bind them to his will. He then used their combined power to perform the most complex ritual of Sith magic ever performed, ripping the Force from their entire planet of Nathema and absorbing the combined life force of every living thing on the surface. As Emperor, he spent much of his rule experimenting even further into the dark side, discovering many lost techniques and increasing his immense power even more. While his body was harmed by the ravaging effects of the dark side, the technique of transfer essence allowed him to move his consciousness, which had been made immortal as a result of ritual of Nathema, between bodies and sustain his life indefinitely. The Emperor's rituals on Dromund Kaas warped the planet's very atmosphere, creating perpetual lightning storms, and he became vastly skilled in telekinesis and defensive techniques. He could conjure force barriers easily strong enough to block a T3 M-Force flamethrower, and even strong lightsaber blows from his son Arkin, and can conjure protection bubbles to protect himself from oncoming force assaults. His telekinetic prowess and power was so great that he could effortlessly perform a great telekinetic feat without using his hand gestures as commonly needed. And finally, coming in number 5 is Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious, born Sheev Palpatine, and also simply known as the Emperor, was a human male Dark Lord of the Sith and Emperor of the Galactic Empire, ruling from 19 BBY to 4 ABY. Rising to power in the Republic Senate as Senator of Naboo, the secretive Sith Lord cultivated two identities, Sidious and Palpatine, using both to further his political career. He orchestrated the fall of the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order through the Clone Wars, and then established his reign over the galaxy, which lasted until his death at the Battle of Endor. However, the dark side of the Force was the pathway to many abilities that made the Emperor's return possible. Born on the mid-rim planet Naboo around 84 BBY during the Republic era, Sidious possessed a strong connection to the Force and was secretly trained in the ways of the Sith by Darth Plagueis. He eventually killed his Sith master in order to train his own Sith apprentice, Darth Maul, for the rule of two limited their ranks to 2 Sith Lords at any given time. As a result of the invasion of Naboo, a crisis orchestrated by Sidious, the Senate elected Palpatine as their Supreme Chancellor. The Separatist Crisis and the Clone Wars were masterminded by Sidious and his new apprentice Darth Tyrannus, in an effort to achieve galactic dominance. Following an attempt to wrest the Chancellor, the Great Jedi Purge commenced with Sidious enacting Order 66. With the Jedi all but extinct, Sidious installed the New Order in the Republic's place, declaring himself Galactic Emperor and bringing an end to a millennium of democracy. He had also taken a new apprentice, having lured the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker to the dark side and transforming him into Darth Vader. Their reign was virtually unchallenged for a generation until the formation of the Rebellion to restore the Republic. During the Galactic Civil War, the Empire sought to replace Vader with his son Luke Skywalker. However, Sidious's plan backfired when Vader ultimately renounced the dark side and killed Sidious to protect Luke. Thus, with the Sith's destruction, the Force was brought back to balance, fulfilling Anakin's destiny as the prophesied chosen one. Through his master's teachings, however, Sidious transferred his essence to an imperfect clone vessel that had been modeled on his original body. Anticipating the possibility of defeat, he created the contingency to destroy the Galactic Empire and replace it with a new Sith Empire in the event of such a setback. His plans culminated in the destruction of the New Republic and the emergence of the First Order, the creation of Supreme Leader Snoke, who turned Ben Solo, the heir to the Skywalker bloodline, to the dark side and established the Final Order. When the Emperor announced his return to the galaxy in 35 ABY, the Resistance invaded the planet Exarcon, Sidious's hidden stronghold in the unknown regions. During the battle, he discovered a dyad in the Force in the form of a bond between Solo and Rey, a Jedi apprentice sired from the Emperor's bloodline. His ambition of eternal rule was finally squashed when Rey called upon the strength of past Jedi to vanquish her grandfather by turning his power against him, destroying Sidious and his Sith eternal cultists. As reigning Darth Lord of the Sith in his time, Sidious was incredibly powerful in the Force, with extreme levels of mastery over the powers of the dark side. He was extremely skilled in Force lightning, and was known to use his power both as deadly attack or as a means of torture. Another more obscure ability that he possessed was the power to produce a dark aura, a miniature storm of malevolent Force energy that slowed the movement and tortured all that it caught within its radius. The maximum potential of Sidious's Force lightning, however, was achieved before his final death on Exegol. When restored back to his former self, Sidious unleashed an immense wave of Force lightning towards the sky, which rapidly expanded enough to disable all the ships of the Resistance. He was also very skilled with the lightsaber, as he was able to best 3 Jedi Masters as well as Darth Maul and Savage Opress. But Sidious was so powerful that he could conjure black holes out of nothing. So who needs a lightsaber anyway if you can do that? Now that you've seen the top 5 most powerful Sith Lords, go check out this video here of the top 10 most powerful Jedi. May the Force be with you.